The rain falls in relentless gray sheets. It hammers against the windows of the Redbird Diner, a lonely outpost of light on a forgotten stretch of highway. Inside, the air smells of old coffee, sizzling bacon, and wet wool. 6 men occupy a corner booth. They are large men, built of corded muscle and hard miles, their presence sucking the idle chatter from the room. Leather vests, worn and cracked like ancient maps, bear the same patch. A skull wearing a crown of thorns, encircled by the words Sons of Solomon. They drink their coffee in silence. Their faces are weathered landscapes, carved by wind and sun, and things best left unspoken. Tattoos snake from beneath their cuffs, intricate patterns of ink on skin that tell stories the other patrons do not want to read. The leader sits at the head of the table, his back to the wall. They call him Bishop. His hair is more salt than pepper, pulled back in a tight tail. A scar cuts a clean white line through his left eyebrow. He does not speak, but he watches everything. He watches the young waitress, Sally, who tries not to look at them, her hands trembling slightly as she refills their mugs. He watches Gus, the owner, a man whose belly strains the buttons of his checkered shirt as he polishes the same spot on the counter again and again. Fear is a scent, thick and cloying, and it hangs heavy in the diner. Bishop and his men are used to it. They are ghosts at the feast of polite society, judged by the leather, by the rumble of their engines, by the quiet menace they carry like a second skin. They do not care. Their world is the road, their loyalty is to the patch, and their code is written in blood and brotherhood, not laws. Suddenly, the bell above the door jangles violently. A small shape bursts into the diner, a whirlwind of desperation and drenched fabric. It is a little girl, no more than 7 or 8 years old. Her dress, once a sunny yellow, is torn at the shoulder and smeared with mud. Her feet are bare, blue with cold, leaving tiny wet footprints on the worn linoleum. Rain plasters her dark hair to her pale face, and her eyes are wide with a terror that silences the entire room. Sobs rack her tiny frame. She stands there, shivering, a lost soul caught in the storm. For a moment, all she can do is gasp for air, her gaze darting from face to face. She sees the fear in Sally's eyes, the uncertainty in Gus's stance. Then her eyes land on the corner booth, on the 6 large men who look like monsters from Storybook. She looks at Bishop. His face is hard, unreadable, but his eyes hold none of the fear she sees in the others. They hold something else. Stillness. A deep, unwavering calm. The girl takes a ragged breath. "Please," she whispers, her voice a fragile thread. "Please help me." She points a trembling finger toward the rain-lashed door. "He's coming. Don't let him take me." Her plea hangs in the air, a fragile crystal that shatters the mundane peace of the afternoon. Before anyone can react, the bell jingles again, this time with a soft, controlled chime. A man steps inside, shaking a fine mist of rain from a tailored gray suit. He is the picture of respectability. His shoes are polished to a high sheen, his silver hair is perfectly coiffed, and his smile is practiced and reassuring. He looks around the diner, his gaze dismissive of the patrons, until it lands on the little girl. His smile widens, but it does not reach his eyes. "Ah, Lily, there you are." His voice is smooth, cultured, like a news anchor or a politician. "You gave me quite a scare, running off like that." He takes a step toward her. The little girl flinches back, a wounded animal, and presses herself against a nearby table. "No," she whimpers. "Go away." The man, Mr. Harrison, chuckles softly, a sound meant to soothe the room. He addresses the diner at large, his tone a blend of patient authority and mild embarrassment. "I do apologize for the disturbance. I am her caseworker, Mr. Harrison." He gestures toward the girl with a practiced, gentle hand. Lily suffers from acute separation anxiety. She sometimes has these episodes. She gets confused and frightened. It's a family matter. The explanation is plausible. It is clean, professional. Gus, the owner, visibly relaxes. Sally lets out a breath she didn't know she was holding. This man is from their world. The world of paperwork and titles and sensible suits. The bikers are the anomaly. This man is the norm. Come now, Lily, Mr. Harrison says, his voice taking on a firmer edge. We need to go. Your mother is worried. He reaches for her arm, and a shadow falls over him. Bishop stands. He does not move quickly. He does not make a sound. He simply rises to his full height, a mountain of leather and denim blocking the path. The other 5 sons of Solomon remain seated, but they are no longer relaxed. They watch. They wait. Their stillness is more threatening than any shout. Mr. Harrison stops, his hand hovering in the air. He looks up at Bishop, a flicker of annoyance crossing his polished features. Excuse me, he says, his voice dripping with condescension. This does not concern you. Bishop does not answer him. He looks down at the little girl, who is now hiding behind his massive leg. His voice, when it comes, is a low rumble like distant thunder. She said not to let you take her. It is a simple statement of fact. Mr. Harrison's smile tightens. As I explained, the child is confused. I am her legally appointed caseworker. Now if you'll kindly step aside. Caseworker. It is another biker who speaks, a man with a graying beard and kind eyes. They call him Document. Where's your identification? The question hangs in the air. Mr. Harrison stiffens. I don't need to show you anything. You have no authority here. The girl is barefoot, Bishop says, his gaze still fixed on the man's face. She kicked her shoes off in the car. Harrison snaps, his composure beginning to fray at the edges. Her dress is torn. Doc adds, his voice calm and methodical. She fell when she ran. Now this is the last time I will say it. Step aside. He tries to inject authority into his voice, but a tremor of frustration undermines it. Bishop does not move. He does not even blink. He kneels, a slow, deliberate motion that seems to make him even larger. He is now at eye level with the terrified child. What's your name, little bird? He asks softly. The girl, Lily, peeks out from behind his leg. She looks from his scarred face to the angry face of Mr. Harrison. She trusts the monster. Lily, she whispers. Lily, Bishop repeats. That's a pretty name. You tell me what's happening. You tell me the truth. Tears well in her eyes again, but these are different. These are tears of a dam about to break. He's not my caseworker, she whispers, the words tumbling out in a rush. He's Mr. Harrison from next door. He said he'd show me his puppies. Mr. Harrison lets out a sharp, exasperated sigh. This is ridiculous. She's making up stories. She does this for attention. But Bishop's attention is solely on Lily. What else, Lily? He prompts gently. He has a room, she says, her voice barely audible. In his basement. He told me it was a secret. He said I couldn't tell anyone, or my mommy would get in trouble. A cold silence descends upon the diner. Gus freezes, the rag in his hand forgotten. Sally covers her mouth. He's lying, Harrison says, his voice rising in pitch. The girl is a compulsive liar. Her file is full of it. What does the room look like? Bishop asks Lily, ignoring the man completely. Lily shivers, her small hand gripping the leather of Bishop's vest. It has a blue door, she says, her voice clear and certain. A bright blue door, with a silver star sticker on it, right in the middle. The detail is so specific, so childishly real. It lands with the force of a physical blow. This is slander, Harrison sputters, his face now flushed with anger. I am a respected child psychologist. I will sue this entire establishment. I will have all of you arrested for kidnapping. One of the other bikers, a lean man called Ghost with pale, watchful eyes, has been quietly tapping on his phone beneath the table. He looks up and catches Bishop's sigh. He gives a single, almost imperceptible nod. The midpoint has been crossed. Suspicion has hardened into certainty. A child psychologist. Bishop says, his voice dangerously soft. You told us you were a caseworker. The contradiction hangs in the air, exposed and ugly. Mr. Harrison's face goes pale. He has made a mistake, a critical error. I misspoke. I consult with the agency. It's complicated. His eyes dart toward the door, a cornered rat seeking an escape. Gus, Bishop says without turning around. Let us use your phone. The diner owner nods, fumbling for the cordless phone behind the counter. My office. In the back. Ghost rises silently and walks toward the back room. This is an outrage. Harrison shouts, his polished facade crumbling into dust. You are civilians. You are interfering in a state matter. We're citizens, Bishop corrects him, and we're listening to a child who asked for help. Right now, that's all that matters. He stands up again, placing himself fully between Harrison and Lily. You're not going anywhere. The finality in his tone is absolute. Harrison looks from Bishop to the other four men, who now form a loose, impassable semicircle. He sees no path. He is trapped. His arrogance curdles into raw, undisguised panic. You don't know who you're dealing with, he hisses, his voice a venomous whisper. I have friends in high places. I will ruin you. You'll be back in whatever prison you crawled out of. The bikers do not react. They have heard threats before. Words are just wind. Ghost returns from the back room. His face is grim. The address for Mr. Charles Harrison, child psychologist, is 14 Elm Street. It's 2 blocks over. He pauses, his gaze locking with Harrison's. I called the local child services agency. They have no Mr. Harrison on their staff. Not as a caseworker, not as a consultant. They've never heard of him. The lie is stripped bare. The room is silent save for the drumming of the rain and Harrison's ragged breathing. The mask is gone. All that remains is the predator. His eyes, once filled with condescending charm, are now cold and flat, like a shark's. You've made a very big mistake, he says, his voice low and chilling. He drops all pretense of concern. He makes a sudden move. Not for the door. For Lily. It is a desperate, foolish lunge. He never gets close. 2 of the bikers, a giant of a man called Tank and a wiry, silent man known as Reaper, move with a speed that is shocking in men their size. They do not punch him. They do not strike him. They simply intercept him. Tank's massive hand clamps down on Harrison's shoulder, stopping his momentum instantly. Reaper smoothly grabs his other arm, twisting it behind his back in a controlled, painless lock. Harrison lets out a squeak of shock and pain. He is neutralized. Efficiently. Completely. He struggles for a moment, his expensive suit wrinkling, his face contorted in a mask of fury and fear. Get your hands off me. Assault. I'll have your heads for this. Tank just tightens his grip slightly, and the fight goes out of the man. He sags, defeated. Just then, the wail of a siren cuts through the sound of the rain, growing steadily closer. Gus stands by the phone, his face pale but resolute. He had made another call. 2 police cruisers slide to a halt outside, their blue and red lights painting the diner in strobing, frantic colors. 2 uniformed officers enter first, their hands on their holsters, their eyes wide as they take in the scene. A large biker holding a well-dressed man in an arm lock. 5 other bikers standing like sentinels. A terrified little girl. It is a tableau that screams of violence. Everybody freeze, one of the officers yells, his voice tight with adrenaline. But before the situation can escalate, a 3rd man enters. He is older, in a rumpled trench coat, his face tired, but his eyes sharp and intelligent. Detective Miller. Miller takes one look at the scene and holds up a hand to his officers. Easy, boys. Let's figure out what we've got here. His gaze sweeps the room, lingering for a moment on Bishop and the patch on his vest. There's a flicker of recognition, not of fear, but of grudging respect. He knows of the sons of Solomon. He knows their reputation, and he knows it is not always what it seems. Bishop, Miller says, his voice calm. Talk to me. Bishop gestures with his chin toward Lily, who is still clinging to his side. The little girl came in asking for help. Said this man was trying to take her. He then looks at the pathetic, sputtering form of Harrison. This man claimed to be your caseworker, then a child psychologist. The girl says he's her neighbor. Says he has a secret room in his basement with a blue door and a silver star. Detective Miller's entire demeanor shifts. The weariness drops away, replaced by a razor-sharp focus. He looks at Harrison, truly looks at him, and sees past the suit and the silver hair. He sees the predator. "Take him," Miller says to his officers. The two uniformed cops cuff Harrison, who starts screaming again about lawyers and lawsuits and false imprisonment. No one is listening. As they lead him out into the flashing lights, Miller kneels down, the same way Bishop had. "Hi there," he says to Lily, his voice gentle. "My name is Detective Miller. You're very brave. Can you tell me your mommy and daddy's names?" Lily whispers the information, her eyes still fixed on Bishop. While Miller makes the call, Bishop shrugs off his heavy leather vest, the cut that bears his club's colors. He drapes it carefully over Lily's small, shivering shoulders. It engulfs her, a heavy, protective mantle that smells of leather and engine oil in the open road. It is a promise. "You're safe now, little bird," he says again, his voice a low, comforting rumble. "You're one of us now. No one will ever hurt you again." For the first time since she burst through the door, a real smile touches Lily's lips. Her tears of fear finally transform into tears of relief. She wraps her arms around Bishop's thick neck and holds on tight. Minutes later, a frantic couple rushes into the diner. Lily's parents. Their faces are etched with panic, which melts in a profound, overwhelming relief when they see their daughter, safe, wrapped in a biker's vest. The mother sweeps Lily into her arms, covering her with kisses, tears streaming down her face. The father, a man in a simple work shirt, his hands calloused, approaches Bishop. His eyes are wet. I don't know what to say," he stammers, his hand outstretched. "You saved our daughter. How can we ever repay you?" He reaches for his wallet. Bishop holds up a hand, stopping him. "No payment," he says, his voice firm but not unkind. "Your little girl was brave enough to ask for help. We were just brave enough to listen." He looks at Lily, now safe in her mother's embrace. "Just keep her safe. That's the only payment we take." The father nods, speechless, and shakes Bishop's hand, a silent bond of gratitude passing between two very different men, united by the simple, fierce love for a child. The aftermath reveals the full scope of the horror. A search of Harrison's house confirms everything. In the basement, behind a rack of wine, police find a hidden, soundproofed room. It has a bright blue door, and on that door is a single, tarnished silver star. Lily's courage opens the floodgates. Other parents in the quiet, suburban neighborhood come forward. Other children begin to tell their own stories of the friendly Mr. Harrison and his secret room. He was a monster hiding in plain sight, his respectable profession the perfect camouflage. The sons of Solomon do not stay for the accolades. As the diner fills with police and distraught parents, they slip out the back, their job done. They mount their iron horses, the engines roaring to life in the now subsiding rain. Gus and Sally watch them go from the doorway. The fear is gone from their eyes, replaced by something else. Awe, respect. They had misjudged the men in leather. They had seen monsters when they should have seen guardians. 1 year later, the sun beats down on a different highway, 1,000 miles away. The sons of Solomon are pulled over at a dusty rest stop, stretching their legs. A mail truck pulls in. The local postman recognizes the patch on Bishop's vest. "Got a package for your club," the postman says, handing over a carefully wrapped brown box. "General delivery. Been holding it for you." Bishop takes the box. It has no return address, just a small, hand-drawn yellow flower where the stamp should be. He opens it carefully. Inside, nestled in tissue paper, is a simple wooden picture frame. It holds a child's drawing. The drawing is rendered in bright, cheerful crayon. It depicts the huge, smiling sun in a brilliant blue sky. Below it, a little girl with dark hair and a yellow dress stands between 6 enormous men in black vests. They're all on motorcycles, and they're all smiling, their tattooed arms looking more like shields and threats. Tucked behind the frame is a letter. Bishop pulls it out and reads. It is from Lily's parents. They write that Lily is doing better. She is in therapy, they say. She still has nightmares sometimes, but they are becoming less frequent. For the first time in a year, she has started laughing again. A real, belly-deep laugh that fills the house with light. She is healing. She calls the men who saved her her guardian angels. She drew the picture for them, so they would never forget her. The last line of the letter is simple. Thank you for listening when no one else would. You didn't just save her life, you saved her light. Bishop reads the letter twice. He carefully folds it and places it in the inside pocket of his vest, next to his heart. He holds the framed drawing, his callous thumb gently tracing the crayon outline of a smiling biker. Doc comes over, looking at the picture over his shoulder. The little bird, Doc says softly. Yeah, Bishop says, his voice thick with an emotion he rarely shows. The little bird. He walks to his bike and carefully stows the precious cargo in his saddlebag, wrapping it in a soft cloth to protect it from the vibrations of the road. It is the only payment he will ever need. He swings a leg over his motorcycle, the leather groaning in protest. The other sons of Solomon mount up around him, a silent, disciplined formation. Bishop looks at his brothers. Their faces are hard in the afternoon sun, but he sees the truth in their eyes. They are not outlaws. They are not monsters. They're the watchers on the wall, the guardians at the gate. They're the last line of defense for those the world has forgotten. With a final, lingering look at the drawing, he turns his face to the horizon. The engine roars, and together they ride back into the wind, chasing the sun, forever guardians of the lost and the broken, their true code written not on their vests, but on the lives they protect. They ride on, a silent promise rumbling across the asphalt, ready for the next person who needs them, ready for the next cry for help in the rain.